Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your boy Marcus Nomer from Gentleman Style Podcast, your host of the #1 podcast coming to you live in America. And today, I want to thank you all for tuning in to this live episode as we bring on a very dynamic, very special, very integral, very personable, down-to-earth, smooth lady and goddess who is here to come and take the stage and answer all your sexual relationship needs and questions, and just remove the veil for us as we dive into something that is not talked about enough, because we may be scared, we may be nervous, we may be wondering, how do I talk to my mate? How do I talk to my partner? How do I talk to my own body? And so this dynamic speaker is Miss Debra Shade. She's a clinical sexologist, master sexpert and author. She travels statewide, pushing boundaries in hand on workshops and seminars exploring sexuality, and it's all kinks. She lives in Columbus, Ohio, where for 10 years she has hosted events, opportunities for individuals 18 and plus, obviously, to learn more about modern day sex education. She consults individuals and couples to their most orgasmic experiences through results-driven consultations. Debra is the author of several intimacy courses, including a program for individuals to become a sexpert. She's also the author of the Sex Journals, a series based on her real life escapades. Find out more about Debra today on Gentleman Style Podcast. I am not going to hold her back any longer. So my audience, please welcome Miss Debra Shade to Gentleman Style Podcast, my special guest. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Hello.
Absolutely. Miss Shade, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining us on the podcast. My audience I've been getting messages all week about you.
Awesome.
And just could not, because sex is just one of those topics that we hear about relationships, we hear about marriage, we hear about all the other stuff, but we don't talk about sex. And so you're here today. First off, I want to ask you, what is a sexologist?
Okay. A sexologist is someone, a clinical sexologist is someone who knows the anatomy and knows the structure of an orgasm, what happens in the body for an orgasm. And the sexologist is a person who can provide therapy on the topic of sex. So as a clinical sexologist, I can do everything except prescribe medication.
Oh, snap. So top to bottom, stem to stern, and to get us that orgasmic experience. Why is a sexologist, a clinical sexologist, is important? And why we, because as a culture, as a people, we don't talk about therapy. We talk about consultation, we talk about going to church, we talk about getting outside help, but we never mention a sexologist. Why is a clinical sexologist like yourself important to relationships?
Really all sex educators are, all those folks, sexperts, master sexperts, and anybody who is open and willing to have that genuine conversation about sex. It makes a big difference and is needed. And when I say sex, I mean the physical contact that you make with yourself or your mate to bring about an orgasm. So not just understanding safe sex practices, but understanding your orgasm. As an orgasm coach, I work with individuals on how to get to their best orgasm. And that's needed because I still talk to folks who've not experienced an orgasm yet, and they're well into their 40s. So it's necessary to have these conversations.
So you work with a multitude, and you have actually experienced people that have never experienced an orgasm?
Yeah.
Ever?
Right.
Wow. Why is that? What's holding us back? Is it mental? Is it
Well,
sometimes physical?
a big part of it, a person might be in their head, I'm too heavy, I'm not pretty enough, my breasts are flopping. They could be in their head about, are the kids listening? That I put the ice cream away, whatever might be on their mind. And that's huge, especially for females. It takes a lot longer for us to clear the plate to be able to be sexually active. So knowing that you have to be able to do that foreplay and that switching of the mindset. And a lot of folks don't put in that time. So the person is not warmed up enough to actually be, you have to be aroused and you've got to be able to experience that. And for vulva-born individuals, penetration really doesn't activate anything within the vagina from beyond the opening into the cervix. So a lot of times, if all you're doing is the missionary position or you're doing just thrusting, then the vulva owner is probably not going to have an orgasm. 93% of us need clitoral stimulation in addition. So it's just a matter of being embarrassed to tell your mate that's what you need, scared to be asking for what you need, not knowing there's something better out there. There's just a whole bunch of different reasons why someone could not have experienced an orgasm.
Wow. Wow. And you said 93%.
Hmm.
93. That's not a small number.
No,
93% are not experiencing orgasm. 93% are not talking about what you need to
right,
stimulate me.
right.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh my gosh. You guys like, share, and subscribe. We have an opportunity here with Miss Debra Shade to explore the mind, body, and spirit and make that connection and make that sexual connection within ourselves and with our mates. Please share this episode. We have to get her out. We need to get her out to the world. She's already out there. She's already out there. Just saying. But I had extensive review. Her resume is long and we need her. We need her. We need this. So your sessions, you teach a hands-on workshop, correct?
Hmm. Yes.
How hands-on are we getting in this class?
We are physically following through on the action. So if the course is 10 female orgasms, females have the opportunity to experience all 10 of those orgasms. A lot of what I do in open play spaces so that people can feel free to explore because, there's sex laws and that kind of thing. So we have certain locations that we can be open and free. You can either participate or not participate. You could take notes and practice it in your own space, but it is an opportunity to have me be right there and be able to instruct on whatever might be happening.
And so you're coaching through that sexual experience. You're coaching to achieve that
Mhm.
ultimate orgasmic experience. You said
Right.
10 times.
Right.
10 times.
Now, not all sexologists do what I do. I've chosen to focus on orgasms. So some might be practicing yoni or tantra or specializing in couples therapy. Just so you know, I've just chosen to concentrate on orgasms. So it's really hard to be able to explain the benefits of an orgasm if you've not experienced it for yourself. So it's important that people have those opportunities to be able to do that and might not be comfortable enough to do it on their own time.
So can you tell us what are the benefits of an orgasm?
There are a lot of benefits for an orgasm. First, a lot of folks get upset with me when I say this, but the excuse of a headache really does not work when it comes to not wanting to have sex and or an orgasm.
Ooh.
In fact, an orgasm can cure a headache because it allows your body to relax and that tension in your neck and your head is relaxed. And so that you're being able to have more open flow with like oxygen and your breathing is more deeper and you're able to just relax into the orgasm itself. It also has benefits. It can burn between 5 and 30 calories, depending on how active you are in the session. It's a huge stress reliever, and the endorphins that are released give you the feeling. It comes from the reward center, so it gives you that feeling that something great, similar to eating chocolate. So you have that hormone that's being released. So just there's just great benefits from it. Adds years to your life. Of course, anything that causes you to be happy, even smiling, adds years to your life. So it just has many benefits.
Wow. Wow, I had no idea. So that excuse, ladies and men, you can't use that anymore. You
Yeah,
cannot use that excuse anymore. I have a headache. It's not
right.
gonna work. Your partner wants sex. It is going to relieve that tension and get you into a better state of mind and clear that headache. Probably for a while, depending
Yeah.
on how, like she said, how active you participate.
I forgot one. Another thing that it is a natural antihistamine. If you're feeling like a sinus infection coming on, or if you're stuffy, if you perform cunnilingus and go through that whole experience, it literally clears your sinuses, which is a lot of times if you've ever experienced while you're going down on somebody, your nose starts to run. That is why their pheromones that are coming off kind of like trigger something that actually cause your sinuses to drain. So it's good for if you've got a sinus infection or a cold coming on or anything like that.
Clear that all out. Get
Clear
that
that all
all
out.
out. Okay. So my going down on your partner, my partner clears that same because the motion, the muscles are working right there to
Not so
perform the
much as
action.
that as in the breathing in of breathing in the I don't know how to explain it.
The secretions.
Right, but you're not literally sucking up the secretions, but
Right.
the aura or the smell of doing that kind of thing. Also, the way that you're breathing, if you're a little muffled into it, causes you to breathe a little bit more shallow, which causes the sinuses to flatten out. I mean, like anatomy wise, knowing a little bit about it's not a matter of relaxing your jaw or anything like that. It is just what hormones are triggered during that experience that causes the nose to run.
Wow. If I had a mind blown emoji right now, this is incredible. We have a question from Mr. Knowledge Born Allah. And his question is, how does sexual trauma affect orgasmic experiences in females?
It's huge. It hugely negatively affects orgasms, specifically in females, because vulva owners hold trauma within the body. So it's very hard to be able to separate trauma from future activities. They are always going to have those traumatic thoughts in the back of their head, and depending on what they are, their body's going to have memory that's going to respond to the trauma more likely than the pleasure that you're trying to give to that person. So a person would really need to work through those trauma barriers before they could probably experience their best orgasm.
Perfect. Mr. Knowledge Born Allah has a follow up to his first question. So I told you, they were excited. My audience is excited about you. What can men do to help their mates in that process of reaching an orgasm aside from sex?
Right. Be there for them. Hear them exactly what they're saying. Be able to translate what they're saying. If it's I don't like when you grab the back of my head. Then know that maybe something traumatic might have happened where they felt suffocated or held down. Especially if they have experienced some sort of rape trauma or something like that. So I might not like the grunting sounds that you make. It makes me feel like you're too animalistic. Being able to translate those kind of things and what that really means is this is a bit aggressive. So let me adjust what I do or how I approach them.
Powerful. Mr. Knowledge Born Allah, I hope that helps you. That helps me. For sure. And that's powerful because what I'm hearing is
Mm-hmm.
communication.
Yes.
Communication, lady fitness. Love y'all.
Huge,
Uh, that's huge. Communication
huge.
throughout the process, not just, I think a lot of times we get into, we don't even talk about it. And
Right.
that's the taboo piece. Sex, the topics around sex. Why are they so taboo for us to just communicate and talk to people
I
and talk to our
related
partners?
I actually related back to slavery, and I don't know if it's too deep for folks to understand, but we've got to remember there was a time, especially for African Americans, where having sex wasn't allowed. You made it when the masters told you to mate, and that sort of thing, and marriages and all that sexual activity was done in the dark. And I think generationally, we have just always taught that. No one has broken that cycle of teaching, don't touch yourself, keep your legs closed, don't, be in private spaces with the opposite sex. And because we're told these things over and over again, they're taboo. You're afraid to ask about, even as far as when your cycle comes on and what that means as far as now you can get pregnant. So not having these conversations as young people, we're making mistakes that are affecting adult life, especially when it comes to safe sex. But they become taboo topics because everybody's embarrassed to talk to their kids about it. So most of us didn't have parents that taught us how to do fellatio. And a lot
Mm.
of us learned through trial and error. And a lot of us learned through listening to what somebody else might have experienced or through the worst source possible of porn. So it's because we never have those conversations. It's taboo generation after generation after generation. And somebody, somehow, somewhere, we need to break that.
So I feel attacked. Let me just say.
Oh my gosh.
So no. It's good. This is good. This is good because it needs to come out. It needs to be addressed. So
Mhm.
you said the worst, and I heard everything, but you said porn. Porn is the worst example of learning about the body. What
Indeed.
about sex? Why?
Indeed. A lot of it is unrealistic. I write porn scripts, so a lot of it is scripted. A lot of it is camera tricks. So it looks like they're really beating it up. Like it looks like this aggressive pounding, when indeed it's camera tricks and fast flowing footage that makes it look that way. That you can just enter somebody by just spitting on them, or like this is, you're supposed to grab the back of the head when you're getting fellatio. Just these tips that we get when it comes to specifically the dominance of vulva owners in those certain scenarios. It always shows them being depicted in some rough, aggressive
Mm,
receiving, and that's not. But nobody learns how to do lovemaking that way. And when you miss
mm.
out on the ability to have lovemaking, then you're missing out on some great orgasms because you need that period of arousal.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay. So, all right. What are so? What about toys? Because we see that in those same porn films. We see the
Uh-huh.
introduction of toys and props and all these gilded items. And so, how do you introduce that into the bedroom? Is that a good idea or a bad idea? Does that help or hurt the relationship?
Okay. It's a great idea. Sometimes it's a fix, and sometimes it's enhanced pleasure, especially if you know how to use toys. The downside to them is a lot of time penis owners feel like they're going to be replaced, or that the mate is not satisfied with them, or it means some shortcoming on their behalf. And for vulva owners, it's about shame, and I shouldn't be doing this to myself, and whatever, so it has its own taboos. But toys really enhance the body's pleasure. Literally, it's not about just laying a vibrator against your clitoris. There are plenty of toys and dildos that you can penetrate with. There are plenty of toys that you can introduce that's going to enhance both yours and your mate's pleasure. So if you're into breaking boundaries and trying to do something a little different, introducing toys is a wonderful idea. It's a wonderful idea. It's just working through anybody who feels like they're being slighted in some way because you want to use the toy.
Okay. So toys are a good thing. It's just
Great
breaking through
thing.
that barrier and getting past that mental block that
Yeah,
he or she may have about the
yeah.
negativity or the negative stigma. So it's
Right, for sure. Even
communication.
the vibration sound of vibrators is a bit intimidating and is a bit much for individuals. So turning the vibrator on in a safe space first might be a good idea so that you're not shocked when the vibrator comes on in the midst of this arousal and you're ready to play with the toy and then glaringly the vibrator sound comes out. So even that could throw somebody off. And it's a matter of working through those kind of things in order to find the pleasure in using toys.
Wow. Wow. We have another question
Mhm.
from Patience Dean on YouTube. How do you keep sex exciting in a marriage?
You got to keep doing it. Don't give up. I suggest people have sex at least 3 times a week. Keep it interesting. Don't do the same positions over and over again. Find things to shake it up. Have sex in different places in your home. Don't have sex in the bed all the time. You know, there's tables, there's the couch, there's the floor, there's all areas of the house. Spontaneity is great when you're able to just take somebody as soon as they walk through the door or while they're cooking or whatever it is. But that spontaneity is a great way to keep it fresh. But have great ideas, whether you role play or whether you introduce the sex toys, whatever that might be, have those communication skills to be able to set the scenario up and then definitely enjoy that.
So spontaneity 3 times. Here
Three
it
times
is.
a week is my suggestion to folks. If you're not having sex 3 times a week, then masturbate 4 times a week.
So up the dosage. This is actually a
You know,
prescription.
that's when it's really great for you. Like I tell men, masturbate and as much as you want to masturbate it, it's not going to hurt anything. You're not going to over masturbate. You
Go
can
blind.
break your penis, you can fracture your penis, but if you're masturbating to the point of your particular pleasure, there's nothing wrong with that. So even if you masturbated 2 or 3 times a day, that's awesome. When you're missing work because you're masturbating, that's a problem. So you
Mm.
want to make sure you're being realistic with it. If you're not able to have sex 3 times a week, definitely make sure that you're masturbating. You are going to kill me, but my battery is running low.
You're
It was
fine. You're absolutely
my,
fine.
it was fully charged and now it's running low. Pooh.
No
I might have to.
problem.
I'm gonna have to go get my charger
Okay.
because I don't want to
That
lose you.
no, that's problem. Go ahead. Get your charger,
So
please.
grab some questions while I'm gone.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So, y'all, this is powerful. This is incredible. You are not going to get this anywhere else. You're absolutely not going to get this dynamic speaker. This is Miss Debra Shade on Gentleman Style Podcast. And so, you all are asking some very great questions. Please like, share, and subscribe and tune in and share and ask those questions. These are the questions that are not discussed, these are the questions that are not talked about ever in talking to couples and talking to members of the opposite sex and same sex. These are the things that are not discussed, and we need to do a better job in discussing um, the things that make us uncomfortable, because getting uncomfortable is going to push us and grow us. And you all know me, you all are my listenership, you all know that getting uncomfortable and growth are my biggest mindset topics that I like to talk about. And so please tune in, please subscribe, please share this message so that the word can get out and so that we can grow and educate and be able to get to a better place relationship wise. So you guys get some water, refresh yourselves. You gotta take a quick bathroom breaks. Still gonna love you when you get back. Miss Debra Shade went to go get her charger. And if you are tuning in, this is Gentleman Style Podcast. We are on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, radio.com, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We are on all major platforms where audio and video can be heard and experienced. So thank you all for joining us in the show. And we are taking an intermission while Miss Debra gets her phone charger, gets her computer charger, laptop charger.
Or gets her
So
shit together, right?
you are together.
There
You
we
are
go.
together. You are getting us together.
I am so sorry about that. That's insane.
Not at all. This is still a family show. And so we did get some questions.
Awesome.
Miss Patience Dean is on fire. She came
Awesome.
back. Is role playing okay in a marriage?
Yes, yes, that's awesome. Somebody be the captain, somebody be the sailor. Um, it adds excitement. Anytime you can add excitement is a plus.
Absolutely. So there you go. Patience role playing. Pirates of the Caribbean. Cops and robbers, good cop, bad cop. Whatever you want
Right.
to do. That's it spices up that relationship. It spices up that marriage.
It sure does.
We got another question from the this question is from Nikki Lewis on YouTube. She is checking in and she's asking, you have to have a partner that, well, it's a statement. You have to have a partner that you're sexually attracted to enjoy sex and relieve symptoms. Sexual attraction. That's what I'm hearing. Is sexual attraction. You must be sexually attracted to your partner. Very well said. Any comments, Miss Shade?
Am I hearing the question to say, do you have to be sexually attractive to the person?
I think that's what I'm hearing as well. It
Okay.
sounds like a statement, but
I think
we have seen some people that are not attracted.
You need to be attracted to the person because you can't have your best orgasm without arousal. So if you can't get aroused, you're probably not going to have a great orgasm. So I think you should definitely make sure you're attracted to the person.
Absolutely. Miss Shanique came back and she asked, what are other ways to improve sex in the marriage other than role playing and toys?
Techniques. Some people don't know what they don't know about particular techniques. I have like demo stuff in front of me. I don't know. Can folks see?
They can.
They can? Awesome.
Yeah.
This thing here is a clitoris. It is the full clitoris. So you see here, this is the part on the outside of the body that you see. And these are the internal legs, and these are the skin glands. If you know how to play around with this, you are able to bring different types of orgasms to a vulva owner. Understanding the different levels of orgasms and the different possibilities adds excitement to it because you're not hitting the same spot, doing the same orgasm over and over again. So knowing that, this is why like grinding feels great, because you're rubbing against the internal parts of the clitoris. So a lot of people think the clitoris is just that little bit that you can see. So, but knowing how to play around with the rest of the clitoris can add a different type of orgasm.
Wow. So, wow, that was, she's prepared, y'all. She had props and
I do
props
have my
and
little demo
demonstrate.
up here because sometimes people, you don't know. I don't know.
You're right. You're
So
so
I
right.
always would rather share more information than to hold on to something.
I guarantee you that there are people who didn't know that. And just being able to just stimulate more than what you see in front of you.
Exactly.
That is incredible.
Exactly.
In your professional expertise, is multiple partners in the bedroom relationship a good idea? Is that opening the door for problems down the road, or just a higher level of intimacy?
Mm-hmm. It is a great idea for individuals who are, like you said, maybe on a higher level or who define themselves as being able to be more open and more relaxed in monogamy. And because sometimes you can have a three-way relationship where the three of you have decided to be monogamous and no one else is coming into the circle. It's boundaries. If you don't have boundaries that both parties respect, it's never going to work. If you have even the slightest gene of jealousy, it's not going to work. It's not going to work with anxiety. It's not going to work if all of the partners are not attracted to each other. Can it work? yes. When it works, it's awesome because a third person could be a great support system or a great sounding bar between a couple or something like that. And sexually, it works because you have different types of orgasms that you can reach when you have three different people. So it's a plus. I'm an advocate of it. I'm not pansexual or anything, but I support it. And I think that if you have those boundaries in place and you have trust among the people you've identified to have this threesome with, I'm not the threesome, but the relationship with, I think it's very plausible.
So that experience when you introduce multiple partners into the bedroom, it's not a one and done. It's a relationship. You are
It can be.
introducing.
It can be. You
Okay.
can have one night threesomes and that sort of thing. And that works. You should definitely have boundaries for that too. You don't want to go into a threesome with two vulvas and a penis, and one of the vulva owners is not sucking dick, and this is, oops, sorry, not sucking penis, and
You're
this is
fine.
very
You're fine.
important for the individual. So if you don't have those boundaries set of what each, you don't want to be touched by this person, or I'm only here for the female, whatever the scenario is, you got to have those boundaries laid out up front or it's not going to work. But it's a great idea. I say do it.
So I heard one boundary is, having what's another boundary that is a good one? What's
But
another boundary that
it's very individualized for what the person's values are and what they feel, but a boundary could be a safe word if I am getting jealous or if you are doing something that I don't like. What's that safe word that we can whisper to each other to stop play and do something different? It could
bananas?
be banana. It could be a matter of some sort of discomfort during the experience. I don't want you touching my breast. I can use a finger on the anus, but don't enter my anus. Whatever those boundaries are, very individualized based on the person's sexual values.
Wow. Wow. So this is Gentleman Style Podcast. You are not going to get this anywhere else except in Miss Debra's one-on-one consultation. And we are coming to you live and direct with the incredible, amazing, insurmountable
You're sweet.
coaching. I'm
You're
honest.
sweet.
I am so honest. I have to be because you are changing lives and you are saving relationships
I
and you
hope
are
so.
you are
That's the
breaking a
goal.
barrier.
That's the
This
goal.
You are breaking a barrier. We have to break through or we're not going to make it.
We have
And
to.
you're helping so many. I know it. You're changing lives. So
Awesome.
so we're in a one-on-one. We've taken your class, we've signed up, we've arrived for our session.
Mm-hmm.
How do I achieve my best orgasm?
Assuming that your session is indeed about learning a new orgasm or learning an orgasm, we would decide whether or not you want to do that via instruction with me present or not present. That would be like the first thing. If I am present, then the expectation when I'm there is to guide the process of getting you to the orgasm. So my clients have to be comfortable with having a third party in the space. I don't touch anybody. I don't participate in the activity or anything like that. I literally coach from the sidelines, so to speak. And then if it's now with COVID, I do Zoom interactions where I walk people through that experience, but I'm not in the space with them. So it depends on what they want, especially if orgasm is the result. Sometimes it's relationship building, reestablishing intimacy, or creating lust, or whatever those topics. Those are usually Zoom face-to-face conversations that I have.
Perfect. So a coaching session can have you in the room or not in the room. So you're on a microphone or via Zoom now
No,
and
yeah.
you're coaching. You're
Yeah,
coaching.
right now I'm not holding any face to face. I'm hoping to be able to do that soon once we figure out what that's going to look like. But I'm
Sorry
not
guys.
doing that. Say it again.
No, I said sorry to my audience. I'm saying sorry she's not doing it due to COVID. Blame
Yeah,
COVID,
I'm
y'all.
only doing face to face now. And like sessions, I've done a couple of sessions already where folks have been sexually active while I'm doing it through Zoom and coaching from the sidelines. It really depends on that individual. Some people need hands-on, and they need to have that I want to make sure I'm getting my money's worth. I'm making sure I'm doing it right. So that's been my barrier during this COVID experience, is trying to get people to understand that you can get from my coaching the same experience, but there are some minor adjustments. So unfortunately, I can't be in the space with people right now, but hope to be doing it soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your book, when
Hmm.
your series, you have a series. You touch all the senses, I think. You touch all the senses. The
Awesome.
visual, the smell, the audio, the visual. I am there within the book, in the series.
Awesome.
One of the things that I caught was sexual chemistry. We hear it all the time. Do we have chemistry? Do we connect?
Hmm. Hmm.
How do what's how do I know what that chemistry is? And then what if the chemistry doesn't line up with the experience? And so I have now engaged someone intimately and I am now disappointed.
Hmm.
And so now the chemistry doesn't match the experience. What should I do?
You got to count it as a loss. It just isn't a good matchup. But a great way to figure out if you do have chemistry with individual, because I get what you're saying. You guys get to a point where you're like, okay, we're going to have sex, and then it doesn't match with this. They used to say if somebody's dancing a certain way, you could tell what kind of lover they're going to, or basic on the way that you can move your body. Um, you might think you have that connection, and then it's the person might only want to do missionary, or what you might consider boring. So you know you might run into that scenario. But more importantly, I lost my train of thought.
We are
What
talking
were you?
we are talking about that chemistry and what if I am disappointed now?
I was so connected on the orgasm that I lost my train of thought. A great thing to be able to pick up on happens during orgasm, but I teach people to recognize this throughout their experience, and that's the breath. A lot of times when you catch chemistry with someone, you hold your breath for a few seconds and you might not even notice it. A lot of times when we're having orgasms, the first thing our bodies do is they tighten up, and you get really tense and you start squeezing things. And that's the worst thing for an orgasm. It's nature's little trick. You need to do the opposite and relax everything and breathe into that experience and breathe into that orgasm. So to figure out if you've got chemistry with someone, think about it. Did I just catch my breath? Or I didn't realize I wasn't breathing, or, whatever that trigger might be for you to recognize it. That's a sure sign of some type of chemistry, even if it's just outward appearance, something they might have said, might have caught your ear. And, some of us sapiosexuals who are into that brain power, they may say something that's intriguing to us. So, pick up on different signs as far as chemistry and what that really looks like for you.
That's big. Miss Deborah Shade, y'all, she is dropping the veil. She's uncovering the mystery that some of us don't even want to talk about. Miss Deborah Shade, y'all, my special guest tonight on Gentleman Style Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe. You are not going to get this anywhere else except in her course, in her consultation, or in a series. I recommend the series highly. But I also recommend her consultations as well, because we need to support her. We need to uplift her, and we need to bring her to the community that is so disadvantaged and don't have access to her.
Yeah.
Because she's one woman, y'all. She's one
Yeah.
person, and we need to get her up. We need to uplift her. Um, should couples have the discussion about past sexual relationships with their current partner?
If it involves when you have your safe sex conversation and you're talking about your boundaries and all that experience, if it involves your status, yes. If it doesn't involve your status, letting someone know that you have 40 lovers versus one lover doesn't help the scenario that you're in at the present moment. So it just opens cans of worms. Most of the times people might get turned off because you have 40 lovers, or they may think, oh, well, this is about to be a great sexual experience, but you might have had 40 lovers having the same sex over and over again, and you don't have the skill set that somebody who had 40 lovers might have. So it really depends on the person's personal experience. But I wouldn't open a can of worms for any reason. But if yes, I'm positive, I have Hep C, I've got, whatever STD, then you should have that conversation.
And bring it up. So if it's applicable
Hmm.
to the current relationship,
Yes.
bring it up. If
Yes.
it's not, take it case by case.
Yes, exactly. If you start to date someone and you guys are 6 months down the line and you might be jokingly having the conversation of how many lovers have you had, that's totally different. If you're about to have sex, that's a really bad timing for that conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you would just humor it. Everything was laughs and giggles. And you're like, hey, by the way,
Right,
da 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 da. Um, Jason's joining us tonight. What?
right. Like, no,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
you got
Absolutely.
to have some conversation.
And you are dynamic. You again, y'all, if you don't know, go to her website. You all have no idea how impactful she is. On her website, she's going to really dive in and really show us how she takes you through the motions. And so, Miss Miss Shade, what are some upcoming blockbusters that you have coming down a pipeline for us?
I've created a series of courses that you can take at home in your own private spaces that generate orgasms. A class like fingering in G spot, exactly what you can do with your fingers within the vagina to bring about multiple orgasms. Specifically, the G spot orgasm, which is the ejaculate, causes most folks to squirt. And then I have a course that's the art of fellatio, how to give the best blowjob and how to give the best conolingus. But these are courses that folks can take in their own private spaces now. Because like you said, a lot of people see these topics as taboo. So they might not want to come out and have the public conversation. So I'm pleased to be able to offer something that folks can take in their own privacy, and be able to at least get the lesson from it.
Absolutely. And these are online video courses?
These are
These are
online
textbook?
courses. Yeah,
Perfect. Perfect.
online
And
courses.
where can people get that course?
They can go to the website you've got up there, shademediallc.com. And there's a tab out there that says courses, and you can sign up for it. I also have created a program for other individuals to become sex educators, called Become a Sexpert. And a sexpert is someone who has a vast amount of knowledge in the area of sexuality. So you don't have to be certified or have a certificate. But I've created a certificate program that somebody who is interested in becoming a sexpert that they could do as well.
Wow. Wow. I told you, you all are not, was in for a treat. And here she is serving us, right? And giving back and giving us the access, the key to saving that relationship, saving that marriage, saving your future with your partner. And so she has now given us access. Please take advantage of it and support Miss Shade in this journey. How has COVID-19 in your consultation, how has COVID-19 affected your business, as well as how do you feel it's affected relationships?
I really think it's affecting relationships because we typically don't spend this amount of time with our mates.
Mm,
Some of us are finding out that we don't even like each other. And some of us are finding out, like, I had no idea how much I missed you throughout the day and how wonderful this time together is. So COVID does affect relationships. One person might get depressed, and the other person would need to be able to support them through that. So you got to be, you've got to watch your relationship during this period, because a lot of personal depressive feelings could come up, a lot of isolation feelings could come up, that could affect the relationship itself.
Wow. Wow, wow. That's real. And that's so important. I think what you said is COVID has caused a lot of people to spend a lot of time with each other,
Mhm.
unexpectedly or expectedly,
Right,
however you want to look at it. And it's causing people to really look at what, am I still in love?
right.
Am I still passionate about this relationship? Am I
Mhm.
still passionate about this marriage? It's forcing people to take a very hard look at their current relationships. So you're right.
Indeed. It
And
sure is.
so have you seen an uptick in demand for what you do because of COVID?
I attribute my uptick to COVID, as far as people saying, "Oh, now I can do this at home," because a lot of my events, like I said, are public, play party events. And then I have like conversations, like this Saturday, I'm having a sexy talk and play. And that's when we have a conversation about different orgasms in general. And then I take questions and answers. But a lot of that people can now do at home. And no one knows they're having this conversation. And we're doing it via Zoom, so they don't even have to show their face. So I think my uptick is because of that, because people can now do this in the privacy of their own home. But there is an uptick in relationship counseling in general, even before COVID, and I think it had a lot to do with the insecurity society was feeling, and the unsurety of where we were going. It really caused a lot of stress on relationships, because you had to figure out how to make it through COVID, and how to do this. Did you have a great team player, or are you finding out this person isn't as strong as you thought they were, or capable like you thought they were? So you seek help for those kind of scenarios, and try to blend yourselves back together if it's possible.
That's powerful. What is the G spot? And please tell
Oh
me you
my
have a prop
gosh.
for this. What is the G spot? I am sick and tired of that question. What is the G spot? I hope you have a prop for this.
Well, I do, but it's not going to be very helpful. But okay, so the G spot is inside of the vagina. Okay, so this is the vagina. Right about here on the vagina. So if your person was lying on their back and they're presenting themselves to you this way, this is the bottom of the vagina. This is the tip where the clitoris is. When you go inside of the vagina, you want to have your finger right behind that area. And the first thing to know is, it's not a spot, it's not a button that you're looking for, like the clitoris. It's an area. So that entire area that is located right here above the hood is what you're going to be manipulating with your fingers. And that G spot feels a little rigid. It doesn't feel like the roof of your mouth. It has a little give to it, a little spongy feeling. So you kind of know that you're on it. It literally is rubbing against the backside of the clitoris. So this space in here is very sensitive. So if you're inside of the vagina, you're literally fingering the space that's in between the skin's gland. And the skin's glands are kind of like the balls. They hold the fluid that's going to be ejaculated. So it's all kind of connected together. But literally, it's 2 to 3 inches within the vagina. On most vulva owners, it's in the same place for all of us. Okay. So if you go really deep and something feels great, but it's not quite squirting, that's the A spot. And that also is at the roof of the vagina. So you want to stay really shallow, almost as if you're going to fall out. Hopefully you're using lube, so it is going to be kind of slippery, so you'll feel like you're coming out. But stay in that area right there. That's where the G spot is.
Highly recommend lubricant. Highly
Yes,
can't.
highly recommend lubricant. Even if you think you get wet enough, use lubricant. Really protects your skin from cracking and breaking and getting vaginal abrasions, and especially with anal sex. The anus does not lubricate like the vagina lubricates, so you definitely need to use lube so that you're having better friction and you're not getting cuts and scrapes.
Powerful. Thank you. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
that. I know that was a little impromptu, but I'm so sick and tired of that question.
Yes.
I'm so sick and tired of that question.
It
Thank you
does
for that.
exist. A lot of folks don't even believe that it exists still, but it does exist. It does work. For most orgasmic vulva owners, you can squirt. It's just a matter of having that person use the appropriate force and the appropriate speed with their fingers in the right position in order to make it. And the person has to be super aroused because the space engorges, it fills with blood. And in order for that to happen, you have to be aroused. So if they're a little bit aroused, if you just spent 3 minutes on the nipples, you're not going to get them to squirt. They really need to be aroused.
So foreplay.
Foreplay is necessary. Yes.
Foreplay.
Yes.
And that doesn't just start at home, y'all. That's not
Yes.
that's not a one that's not a oh now I see you in front of me now I can foreplay with you. No.
And oral sex is not foreplay. Oral sex is sex in itself.
What?
Foreplay, yeah, foreplay is using the 23 erroneous zones to bring someone to a sexual peak. So foreplay is the breast, the whole breast, the nipples, the back of the spine, the inner thighs, the back of the knees, lips, earlobes, wherever else that sensitivity is for the individual that you're with. You want to manipulate all of that and get them turned on from head to toe. That way, you know they're aroused and you'll be able to feel that G spot a lot easier.
I like it. I like it. Please, y'all, like, share, and subscribe. This is Miss Deborah Shade on breaking the veil and showing us how to get to a better quality orgasm and a better quality relationship. Miss Patience Dean is back with us, and she has a final question. How much affection do you think people should show in public and in front of their kids?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to say you're asking the wrong person because I'm an advocate of sex education. So I think our children need to be guided by example. If they never see you hug, if they never see you kiss, how are they supposed to learn those are affectionate things? If they never see you whisper to each other, how are they supposed to learn that that's affection? So they grow up not having that ability as well, and we repeat that cycle. So I'm an advocate of showing PDA in front of your kids and letting them know what love looks like so that they know what they're looking for themselves. And in public, I think you should be decent. What the average society sees as decent. I might have a particular belief and I believe it's decent. So I'm going to pull your penis out on this park bench because I'm okay with that. That's not what most society deems as decent. So as far as public PDA, keep it decent. Kissing, hand holding, walking with your hand in their back pocket, but not walking while you're just grabbing and pinching the ass or something like that. So, find that balance. Find that balance.
Wow. Wow, wow. You're so right. Thank you, Patience Dean, for that questions. I hope you got answered. Do not get Astroglide. You'll be slipping all over the place. Uh, that's my
Slippery is
quick.
good. Slippery is good.
For a week, you'll be sliding all over the place for a week.
Yeah.
Miss Deborah, what
Yes.
3 books would you recommend every man or woman should read?
Of course, I'm going to say the sex journals. Maybe she is right. Hot Sex on the Platter and Queen Bee. I'm only kidding. Of course, I'm not kidding by my
No,
books,
you.
but I really think that books about not like anatomy, but books that talk to you about the way the body works are really good reads if you're into understanding, especially if you're into understanding where an orgasm comes from and all the little things that are triggered in your body when an orgasm happens. They've got those type of sex education books out there, so those are kind of fun for me to read. But for average people, Zane's still writing some really good, popular erotic stories. Um, I'm just into concentrating on my own work lately, so I really haven't read a lot of other people for quite some time.
Okay, that's fair. No, that's real. That's real talk. So get her book, y'all. I can't say it enough. Get her book and continue to work on that relationship. Continue to work on the
Yeah,
intimacy within your relationship 3 times a week
yes,
minimum.
it's work, but
Doc,
you can do it. You can
doctor's
do it.
orders.
Yes.
Doctors. Who are your heroes and why?
Who are my heroes? I'm a huge Tina Turner fan because she's resilient. Um, and to do what I do, you have to be resilient because people treat you like you're a leper sometimes. Like, oh my God, you're pushing. And she was really, really resilient and she reformed herself. And sometimes you got to reform yourself. So I really love Tina Turner and Dolly Parton because she's never been embarrassed about her sexuality. In the way that she sexually presented herself, it was always out in the open and seeing her as a sexual being.
Wow. Thank you for that. That's incredible. Oh my gosh. Woo! I don't want how do you give back to the community?
Oh wow, I do a lot. I am a keynote
Yes, you do.
speaker at festivals and community parties. I travel statewide, New Jersey, New York, Miami, where I donate my time to do sex education courses, doing festivals, and doing like Exotica tour, Sexapalooza. These are huge industry type sex industry. What's new as far as sex toys? Who's selling what in the sex industry, and those individual companies give back to communities. They donate monies, Planned Parenthood and other areas where you can do sex education, get free condoms, get free testing, and that sort of thing.
You attend Sexapalooza?
I attended Sexapalooza. I presented at Sexapalooza.
Oh my god. See y'all. Buy the book. Tune in, like, subscribe, and get in Miss Deborah's course. You're not going to regret it. Sexapalooza is a big event. It's a
Hmm.
large event. Not just, and it's not what it sounds. It's also just like what we're talking about today. It's the education. It's not
Hmm.
just a free for all. It's an experience.
Right.
So Sexapalooza, Miss Deborah Shade, live and living color with us. Miss Deborah, I hate to see you go. How
Oh,
can my audience get with you? How can they connect with you and learn from you and grow?
you guys can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Shady on Top, and that's SHADEY on top. I'm always posting tips and suggestions, and hey, let me see if you've been thinking about this type conversations on my page. So definitely drop in and join the conversation. And of course, they can reach me through my website and debrashade.com. And there's a whole lot more information on that website as well.
Absolutely. Powerful. And how can they book you? Is there a
At
way?
debrashade.youcanbook.me. And it's a calendar. You can set your own stuff up, and then it sends you confirmation that you've got your time set up with me. And then we send a Zoom link and we connect that way.
This is incredible. Miss Deborah, I thank you. My audience, thank you. You are dynamic, an
Awesome.
incredible author, an amazing speaker, and I appreciate you for everything that you're doing. And
I appreciate the platform. Thank you so much for being open to having an honest conversation.
we have to,
Yeah,
we have to.
we have to.
Without you, without touching on this, we're not going to make it.
Hmm.
We have to talk about these things, even if it makes us a little uncomfortable,
Right.
because if we don't, we're doomed to fail. And then, now, like you said, we're going to go into other avenues that aren't as helpful. We're going to go into the porn. We're going to go into what we saw growing up in our household, which
Hmm.
may not be a good example of intimacy or relationships.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head, and I thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, everyone, I want to say thank you. I adore you guys. You guys are appreciated. You guys are amazing. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Gentleman Style Podcast. Thank you for tuning in today and supporting this journey as we grow together. And so, like I always say, this is Marcus Norman on Gentleman Style Podcast with Miss Debra Shade, the incredible Debra Shade. Like always, take care of your family, take care of your friends, and take care of business. This is Marcus Norman and Ms. Debra Shade signing off. Love you guys.